What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Wednesday, March 15th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 7-game NBA slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So if you want a value play here, I like Mike Conley from the Minnesota Timberwolves playing the Boston Celtics, who have a good defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Mike Conley has averaged 27.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He's projected at 27 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more, get you over 5 times value. He's 5,700 DraftKings salary, 300 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 233.5 points scored in this game, and Mike Conley has scored 34, 35, and 14 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 40, and 24 minutes. So it's not a back-to-back, and Mike Conley has pretty decent player versus team history here. He scored 20, 49, 28, and 43 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Celtics. So I would take 3 out of those 4 scores, and 2 of those scores would be way over 5 times value. If he can put up 40 plus fantasy points here tonight, you'll be in great shape. So I like Mike Conley here versus the Boston Celtics. Now, there's a lot of players, point guards, shooting guards around 5K. You got Derek White or Marcus Smart, both at 5,400 DraftKings salary. From the Boston Celtics playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. Either of those guys could be good plays. You also have Malcolm Brogdon at 5,800 DraftKings salary, same price on FanDuel. And you also got a guy, Jordan Poole. Now, he's 6,500 DraftKings salary from the Golden State Warriors, playing the LA Clippers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Jordan Poole has averaged 32.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 34.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. And Vegas thinks there's going to be, he's 6,500 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 235 points scored in this game. And Jordan Poole has scored 31, 23, and 33 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 30, 25, and 34 minutes. Now, I like Jordan Poole because he scored 49, 41, 18, 34, and 28 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Clippers. So I like Jordan Poole here versus the LA Clippers. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat playing the Memphis Grizzlies, who have, you know what? I'm sorry, I just caught this out of my eye. So you got Tyler Hero or Jalen Green. So Tyler Hero is 6,900 DraftKings salary. Jalen Green is 7,100 DraftKings salary. Now, I think there's an opportunity to stack this Houston Rockets LA Lakers game. I'm getting off track. Let me get back to Tyler Hero. So Tyler Hero, he is averaging 36.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's projected at 37.2 fantasy points here tonight. He's 6,900 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 220.5 points scored in this game. And Tyler Hero has scored 31, 24, and 43 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 26, and 38 minutes. Now, I like this pick because Tyler Hero has scored 51, 32, 38, and 30 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Grizzlies. So I like Tyler Hero here versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Jalen Green from the Houston Rockets playing the LA Lakers, who have the second worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing shooting guards. Jalen Green has averaged 33.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 34.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's close to 5 times value. He'll need about 36 fantasy points to hit 5 times value. He's 7,100 DraftKings salary, only 100 more on FanDuel. So I like Jalen Green on FanDuel over Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, you could argue, maybe a better play on DraftKings at a couple $100 cheaper. But I think both of these guys are good plays on DraftKings, and I would play Jalen Green on FanDuel. So Jalen Green has scored 45, 33, and 37 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 40, 35, and 42 minutes. So this is what jumped out at me. For only $200 more on DraftKings, looks like you're getting a lot more minutes from Jalen Green in the last 3 games than you are from Tyler Hero in the last 3 games. And the production has been better on Jalen Green as well. He's got a better matchup here versus the Lakers. So I like Jalen Green. Oh, take a look at this. Who scored 35, 43, 38, 33, and 21 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Lakers. So I like Jalen Green here versus the LA Lakers. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. Now, here's a super value play. Take a look at Doug McDermott from the San Antonio Spurs playing the Dallas Mavericks, who have a good defense overall, but they give up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Doug McDermott has averaged 16.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 21 minutes per game with a 19% usage rate. Now, he's projected at 16.4 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 20 fantasy points or more here tonight and get you over 5 times value. He's only 3,600 DraftKings salary. He's 1,000 more on FanDuel. And Doug McDermott has scored 24, 22, and 31 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 24, 26, and 28 minutes. So he's been getting some extra minutes as of late. He's still super cheap on DraftKings. High risk, high reward play here. So I like Doug McDermott as a high risk, high reward play as a sleeper pick here versus the Dallas Mavericks.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I got a couple of power forwards for you here, actually 3 of them. So let's start off with Jabari Smith Jr. from the Houston Rockets playing the LA Lakers, who have the 3rd worst defense overall, give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Jabari Smith Jr., he's averaged 26.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. But take a look at his last 3 games. He scored 50, 44, and 58 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 35, 36, and 46 minutes. So he's playing monster minutes, monster production. I think he can score 35 fantasy points or more here tonight and get you over 5 times value. He's 6,800 DraftKings salary, 600 more on FanDuel, and got a great matchup here tonight. He's just been on fire. So I like Jabari Smith Jr. here versus the LA Lakers. Another guy who's been playing really well and his salary hasn't come up very much is Jeremy Sochan from the San Antonio Spurs playing the Dallas Mavericks, who have a good defense overall, give up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Now, Jeremy Sochan has averaged 23.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate, but he's been playing extra minutes here. He scored 49 and 34 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 31 and 32 minutes. So I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more here tonight and get you over 5 times value. He's 5,600 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel, and he did score 33 fantasy points in his last game versus the Mavericks. So I like Jeremy Sochan here versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, another Houston Rockets play. Take a look at Kenyon Martin Jr. from the Houston Rockets playing the LA Lakers. So Kenyon Martin Jr. has averaged 23.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. But he's been playing some extra minutes as of late as well. Scored 34, 19, and 32 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 30, and 32 minutes. So I think he could score 30 fantasy points or more here tonight, get you over 5 times value. He's 5,200 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel, and he scored 30 and 36 fantasy points in his last 2 games versus the Lakers. So I like Kenyon Martin Jr. here versus the LA Lakers. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Kevon Looney from the Golden State Warriors playing the LA Clippers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, middle-of-the-pack defending opposing centers. Kevon Looney has averaged 24.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 23 minutes per game with an 11% usage rate. Now, I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more here tonight, get you over 5 times value. He's 5,300 DraftKings salary, 600 more on FanDuel. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 235 points scored in this game. Kevon Looney has scored 33, 42, and 14 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 26, 36, and 18 minutes. And he scored 23, 34, 24, 26, and 20 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Clippers. Now, if he can get 30 minutes or more in this game, he should crush value. He's averaging 1.06 fantasy points per minute. So I think at 5,300 DraftKings salary, only needs like 26 fantasy points to get you 5 times value. So it looks like he's playing at least 25 minutes a game, with the exception of that game that he played 18 minutes. So I think he's got a great chance at hitting value, and he's got a pretty big ceiling here. He can put up 40 plus fantasy points. So I like Kevon Looney here versus the LA Clippers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.